on to the topic of the roundtable. We're going to talk about Amazon. So I kind of feel like let's just not avoid the big gorilla in the room anymore. Let's actually talk about it and get it out there and see what everyone else has to say about it. I just want to start with a question about, I know we had kind of discussed it last night at my table, but as a consumer, what is it that you like about Amazon? Like, not as a retailer, but as a consumer. How do you shop it? How do you, what do you feel about it? So actually, Nancy, I'm going to start with you on that one.
Well, I think the big draw for Amazon is I think we all as independents, we want to shop other small independents, but there are some things you simply can't find at a small independent. I think that's what drives most consumers to Amazon is it's just the easiest way to find things.
Mike, what do you think?
I agree. It's with a huge catalog, it's very easy to see that everything's available there. And consumers used to start their searches on Google to find product. Today's searches for product start on Amazon for many. The selection's huge. The quality is great. The speed of delivery is becoming more and more important to people. And so Amazon's actually reduced their typical speed of 2 days. They're trying to reduce it down to 1 day. And that's a great thing that consumers definitely want to have that product. It's instant gratification virtually.
Right. Art, what do you like about Amazon, if anything?
We have the price check. If we have, as a retailer, it's good to go and check because I like to be current and make sure that I'm right in there, and it's also just finding out if something is out of line. So it's like an open book. You really have it all there, so you don't have really any questions about what your customer is seeing, and so I use it quite a bit for that. I do not buy it all from them. But.
Good for you. When you were talking about price checking, do you match prices on Amazon if somebody comes to you and says this is what it is on Amazon?
If it's a legitimate claim,
yeah.
But I have to verify it on my own, and I have had very rare circumstances where I turn a customer away. Generally, though, they don't ask.
Really?
I don't think they ask. I think that they'll walk out if your price is too high. I think that's generally the customer reaction. Customers aren't very bold in that way, I don't think.
Has anybody had that happen in their store? You guys have. What's been the outcome? Lindsay, let's start with, I'll start with you.
Mine was like on a knife. They looked on Amazon and we were within about $5. And so he asked me, I'm actually surprised. I'm gonna go ahead and buy this here because you're at least competitive, but would you be willing to match it? And for $5, I'd rather have the sale. And so I've been more likely to match it. But when it is someone who like their price on Amazon is the same as what my cost was, I just can't do it. Now I have had some vendors that have met me in the middle and they've matched it for me to be able to continue to give that customer service.
Okay.
But that part's hard. But I see people price checking Amazon while they're shopping around. I mean, we're small enough that I can see it and then usually start a conversation from there.
Really? Yeah, Kristen.
Yeah, same thing where you can tell people are price matching, which is fine. Like it gives them the opportunity to know that people automatically assume that a small business is going to be charging more. So it shows them that, hey, there are a number of products we are the same price or less than what they're selling on Amazon. So it makes them trust us more.
Yeah, Holly.
I'd say second that. I've had people come in where it's way off, and usually it has to do with like the item number or let's say I'll collect like a cookware set where maybe it says 10 piece here and 10 piece there, but they're not the same pieces and things like that, or one's tri-ply, one's bi-ply,
Really?
So I've had that a lot where they come in and say, well, this on Amazon is this much money, and then when we actually break down the SKU, it's not the same set. So that kind of alleviates that. Also, I've done like you where I've just ate, the $5 difference or whatever. But it's a great time to educate my customer. Like, when you come here, you're not going to pay more just because I'm a small store. Like, we're MAP protected, and that's really helpful for me to be able to say that to my customer. They don't know that. Most of them don't know that.
So can you just walk us through like an instance where you would be able to educate? I do think that that's great when you just said I can break it down for them and they realize that it's not the same SKU. on Amazon than it is in our store. So can you just walk us through that? I think that that's really great.
Well, I just pull it up. Usually I pull it up, I try to find where they found it, and then I'll pull up what's on my box, or I'll pull up even the catalog or whatever, the website, whatever I have with me. And then I just turn my screen around and say, you know, see this item, this is actually a 3-quart saucepan, not a 4, and you know, this is actually 3 layers of, there's a stainless, aluminum stainless, and where this one has 5-ply, and then it just really calms everything down.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, I just didn't realize, you know, that there's a difference.
Yeah.
And
Do you feel like that helps you capture that customer for
Yeah.
repeat business?
it's huge, I think, because everyone's looking for a good value, you know,
Right.
like I want to get something at the lowest value, you know, that I can. So I understand where they're coming from. I think if you just meet them with more of an education standpoint than proving them wrong or, you know, getting defensive about it,
Yeah.
I think that's really calms them down and makes them appreciate you walking them through that.
Yeah.
And then they don't feel stupid, so to speak. I mean, a lot of times they'll be like, oh, I had no idea, I'm sorry, you know.
And I
But
think
it
it helps build a
calms-
relationship
Yeah.
too. So then they know who you are as a
Yeah.
business owner too, which I think is important.
And that you're open, like that's the other thing, just being open about walking them through that instead of just shutting it down or, not, I like to let them know why a price is the way it is, or that they're not necessarily wrong, they just don't have the same set as
Right.
what they thought I had, you know.
And sometimes it's education, like, well, I've had people come in and they're looking at my Wusthof knives and they go, I can get that on the internet for $199 and you've got it $4.99. I don't understand what the difference is. Well, they were comparing Gourmet to Classic, you know. The handles look the same, but they're not the same knife. So it's an opportunity to get the knives out and show them what the difference is. And now, this particular customer, they bought the better knives because that's what they thought they were looking at on Amazon. So it just gives you an opportunity to educate them as to what the difference is and let them feel and hold and touch what you can't do on Amazon.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Do you still battle showrooming? Is that, I know at one point it was a very big problem. I've heard it less and less, but is it still kind of a problem?
I think it's always going to be a problem,
Yeah.
but it depends on your, I think it depends on your assortment, because they tend, especially, you know, the high dollar items, that's one of the ones where Art says you've got to get in there and make sure that your prices are competitive and that you've got it priced correctly, because the high dollar items are the things that they're going to be checking you on. So we tend to stick very close to exactly what everybody else is charging on all those high dollar items, and then, you know, you've got your smaller items that those are the ones you can work with the price a little bit. You're selling more of them anyway, so that's kind of the way we work with it.
Right. So where am I wanting? Okay, so counterfeit products have been, yes. Counterfeit products have been a problem where people will order goods and get something that is not what it was advertised or not what they believed it to be. Have you guys ever run into a case where somebody has brought a product to you for, you know, this wasn't what I ordered and can I exchange it here, or, you know, because it's not a real product, or anything that they've bought online that they, you know, want to talk through with you? Has that ever happened to any of you guys?
I've purposely purchased product online that I suspected was counterfeit to prove my case that it was. So.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about this, can we?
I mean, I obviously where I am in my space, I know pricing well. When I see prices that are obviously telltale of it couldn't be genuine product purchased from one of our vendors, sometimes I assist our vendors in acquiring the product, making the case for that it's in fact counterfeit. Sometimes the cases are different, the production's different. You can tell the boxes either won't have the genuine box or will have a different box. And I've seen this a few times, personally.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it does nothing but help us because it makes people trust Amazon less.
Right. Agreed. Like when you get those little dresses from China and you're like, okay, this is a t-shirt, not a dress.
It just happened. It just
happened to a friend of mine. Yeah, it didn't fit my 13-year-old. It was an extra large. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so nobody else has really had an issue where they've come back and they've said, I bought this on Amazon and it's terrible, or no.
There is on Amazon, there's a higher propensity for consumers to believe they're receiving counterfeits even when they're not. There's a trust factor that's kind of eroded over time because a lot of products do come from China directly. There's not the quality controls that we see with our vendors. So many times consumers are becoming more suspect that things are counterfeit. So in some of our transactions, we've had products from very well-known vendor brands that consumers have said, oh, this is counterfeit because it's not the same quality as this other cookware I have. Well, one's enamel on steel, one's cast iron, of course there's a difference. So sometimes we actually get our vendors involved and we say, please reach out to this customer. You obviously could, show some genuineness and a knowledge base as well as authority figure here. And sometimes consumers, they accept that, and sometimes they've created such a story in their mind that they won't accept it regardless of who tries to educate them.
Really? That's interesting.
I think people are a lot less likely to return things to me because they have to go and talk to an actual human being about it. And sometimes it's awkward. They feel weird returning this thing that they didn't like or it broke right away or something like that. Where Amazon, they can just send it back, not feel anything about it. There's no human interaction that comes with it. So I think in that way, it might hurt us that there might be a customer that's unhappy that we don't know about simply because they don't want to tell us that they're unhappy. Mm-hmm. Where with Amazon, they can just avoid that whole interaction.
So my return policy is we're not happy till you're happy. I take everything back, which is a lot of small businesses. They have a return policy that's a full page long, and you got 30 days, and if it's a full moon, you can't return it at all, or really crazy stuff. And so I found that we absolutely had to relax our return policy because now we can say that it's. Because we have the same return policy as Amazon. If you don't like it, you bring it back. We're not happy till you're happy. And it's definitely made a difference because we can use it on the sales floor. If you get it home and you just absolutely hate it, bring it back. And then we save all of our things that are like that are returned, that can't be resold because once it's been used or opened, generally we can't resell it. We have a big, charitable organization that once a year we have a dented, dinged, and slightly used sale, and then 100% of the proceeds goes to the charity, and then we get all that great publicity and community goodwill and a big tax write-off.
Right.
So it's a win-win for everybody just because we really relaxed our return policy.
Really?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, you talk about the lifetime value of your customer.
Yeah,
As long as
exactly.
they're happy, they'll keep coming back. So
They will.
You'll lose $10 here, but you'll make it in the future.
Or you might lose $100, but they might be your
Yeah.
$30,000 customer.
And how many of their friends are they talking to about
Yeah,
this awesome
exactly.
experience they just had?
And that's what you have to watch for, is how many people are they telling about an experience that they had in your store that was a bad experience because of a return, which they don't have that experience with Amazon, because if they do get it and it's a knockoff, they can send it back and they get their money back. So it's hard to send that thing back to China, though.
I was going to say, I never send anything back to Amazon ever. I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I lost $5, or I guess I lost $20, or like whatever. I mean, now Kohl's will take it back, I think, but I mean, I'm just like, okay, I guess my niece will fit into this dress then. She's 5. But you know what? I actually want to talk to Mike a little bit about selling on Amazon and how you kind of got into it, and kind of what the benefits are for you and kind of what the pitfalls are for you.
That's interesting territory. We were an early adapter with Amazon. We were selling product on Amazon before even Amazon themselves were selling those products. So we entered the category. We were a strong participant there. Advantages, they certainly have a lot of eyeballs, and they've gained more eyeballs over the years. So that's certainly one of the biggest advantages. People are seeing the product out there. Disadvantages, with Amazon, it's always kind of a bit of a double-edged sword. Amazon will be a great platform. There's lots of people who are shopping there. When Amazon sees that there is viable product, they of course want to also participate themselves, and they're a very competitive competitor. Sometimes very hard to battle, and when they take product on, you may have had a successful product, you then tear down, and you don't have that success anymore. Right. So that's certainly one of the battles. Customer service, people have an expectation, and it's a little bit blind. Like you said, when customers come into your store, Kristen, they come in and they have to speak to you in person. An email's blind. I could send an email and I could be half drunk or whatever, and I could write any words I want, and I feel you have to receive it and you have to respond. And if you don't like it, I'm going to give you a bad feedback versus anything else. So with that type of attitude, sometimes customers require a more delicate handling than you would in other instances, and it's that animosity that exists in an email where a customer feels they can simply say anything they want and demand anything they want. Whereas in real life, we have to be polite and kind to people, we should.
Do you battle reviews on Amazon?
Reviews on product or reviews on seller performance?
Reviews on product that you sell.
That's an interesting area. Many times the reviews are the 8-ounce item I bought is way too small, or things of nature that you can't help.
Right.
Now, there's some genuineness to some of the pieces. The stainless steel cookware, everything's stock. Well, if you don't know how to use it, it's probably going to happen. And sometimes silly things like the glass broke before it arrived. Okay, well, glass breaks. We kind of understand that. There's those type of things. So some of those reviews are kind of hard to battle in terms of achieving a good product review. Some of them are very genuine and both positive and negative. But some of them are just in categories that are a little bit harder to manage. It wasn't as red as I thought it would be, or the 8 ounce is not as large as I expected, or things of that nature.
I think my question for the group is, I don't do Amazon because almost everybody that I enter into a contract with, it says that I'm not allowed to sell on a third-party site, including Amazon, etc. And so for me, I would really have to break apart my inventory. Like, how do I upload the things that can, and then I have a majority that can't? And so I've just never touched it because I felt like my vendors didn't want me to do it. And it is competing with the vendors on there too. Like, I get why they don't want me to go on Amazon, but I feel like there's so many of them, I've just never really considered that an option.
Do you have any advice for Lindsay? I figured that you maybe would.
It's kind of interesting to be an expert in your field. I don't necessarily know that I would highly recommend that every retailer try to sell on Amazon. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of requirements. It's a changing minefield sometimes. Policies could change rather quickly. Expectations are very high. You may be busy at your store, but you have to ship things out, and it has to go out today. It's a challenge. You have to gear up for it. You have to make sure you have staff that can accommodate it. Customers want their questions answered really quickly. Do you have a customer service team that'll be on the computer and taking care of that? It's a challenging environment. If you're ready for it, it could be rewarding. But if you're going to lose customers in your store to try to accommodate customers online, you got to decide if that's worth it for you.
What I can't figure out is shipping. Like, how in the world, if you're selling a $10 product, do you pay for free shipping? Like, how do you make that work and still make money?
There's certain products that Amazon can be profitable selling that item. Most of the customers are paying them $119 a year to be a member of Prime. So they write off some of that to the shipping part. That makes sense. For most retailers to try to ship a $10 item and find a profitability, there's not. So the item either has to be at a higher price point or you don't sell it.
What about warehousing for Amazon? Like, if Kristen wanted to sell a couple $10 products on Amazon, could she ship it to them and they handle the shipping? I know that there's fees and things associated for that, but is that worth it for her?
It can be. They have a program. It's pretty elaborate. It allows virtually anyone to send product into their facilities, and they manage all aspects of the sale. When I say all aspects, I'm not just talking about the warehousing and the shipping to the customer. So they do the pick, pack, and all that, but they also manage the customer service. So when you provide product and you put it in an Amazon facility, you lose all ability to communicate with any consumer on any level whatsoever. So if the customer's not happy because it's not pink enough, you don't talk to the customer. Amazon will handle all the customer service as well. So when you spoke earlier regarding the return policy and does Amazon accept it back without question, you have no ability to perhaps stop that return because the customer didn't understand the product. The return's going to happen, so it'll be automatic.
Lindsay, you sold on House for a little bit. Can you just talk about that experience?
I did it when it was really popular among my peers. It felt like everybody was always posting stuff from Pinterest to House and all this stuff, see all that activity. And so they called and I uploaded it and it worked well. It integrated with my online store, so all of that process was easy. But it seemed like everything was muddy on the backside, like how you get the money. They're different. Same thing. Like there's so many other policies and stuff in place. And I already had my online store, my storefront, and it was just I didn't need one more set of how to do for somebody else. And the profit margin. I mean, they took a good chunk of everything, and I still had to ship it. And so it never made me any money. And so for the effort and same thing, like it has to be shipped out, all of that stuff, that was not worth it to me to keep up with that. For me, it was a headache. And I do feel like my store is an experience store. I mean, we have the full kitchen in there so people come in there and get the things out of the box. I want to do more to drive traffic in as opposed to trying to catch the dollars that are, I mean, I'd love to catch the dollars that are flying out there in the internet, but that was not a good stream for me.
Yeah.